All right, in this video, we're going to talk just specifically about scenes. This is one of the more critical parts of GoGuardian and how you would interact with GoGuardian. You can pre-build or on the fly build a scene. So I'm going to take a look at the pre-built side, and you can hit that by clicking the left side tab that says scenes. Now you got two options. Allow lists, which are basically the student is only going to be able to access whatever you have put into this list. So if you're like, look, I don't want you to go to anything but IXL or anything but Google Classroom, that's an allow list. Block list means you can go to anything you want except. So for example, I have a couple down here I already made. Only go to Cool Math or Right Now or Test. So just to clear a couple of these up, I'm going to delete a couple of them. Now notice in the three dots, you can set it as a default. You can edit it, share it out, which is a cool feature. If you have a list that you really like, you can share this with other teachers. So for example, you can add this to an email or even just copy a share link and say, hey, everybody, I got this list that really works well. You can share that. That's fairly new. You can rename it. You can make a copy of it. You can delete it. Why would you make a copy of it? Well, let's say that you want to tweak one. You want only Cool Math, but you want only Cool Math plus another thing. You can make a copy and just kind of build off of the one that you like without losing it. Now, let's say we're going to create a new one. This is how it looks. It's very white, but you're going to name the list. So only what I need you to do. I can add a description. This only has IXL available. You can be as detailed or as non-detailed as you want. You can pick a color. This is just for you. Now, the thing that you're going to do now is go up here to next. So right here in the upper kind of right area, there's a next button. You're going to click that. And now you're going to kind of build your allow list. Now, cool thing, you can type stuff in. So if you type Google, it's going to give you baskets of services. So if you're like, okay, well, I want to make sure we have the classroom sign in. I want to make sure that we have docs.google.com. I want to make sure Google's in there, Drive's in there, accounts are in there. Okay, so now I've built a basket of Google services. Maybe I also want Google Mail. Maybe I want IXL. And let's say I'm happy with that. Now, you have quick lists you can look at. Now, these have some pre-made baskets, like they made a basket for Houghton Mifflin or Pearson. Maybe you're also like, I better grab that G Suite one. I don't know if I missed one. Maybe you're also like Cami just to make sure, and you press that. Now you've built yourself a nice, robust group. Advanced filtering, you can create exceptions in your allow list. So basically, it says if you want your students to have access to all Google Suite, except for Google Sites, you can kind of cleverly build in exceptions. So you can say, allow this, but not that. So you can get quite advanced with that button as to how you're exactly going to let it fall up with the scene when it gets applied. The other thing that goes unseen a lot is down here, this tab limit. This can be really, really helpful. If you have students who are like constantly off task, trying to hide things in tabs, you can say, I want you to have one tab. And basically, if they don't open that one tab, if they try to open anything more than one tab, it's going to not allow them to. And once you are ready, you would press save, and that puts your scene in the options available here. So only what I need you to do. This is only IXL, et cetera, et cetera. This lets you know what you're going to use. On your blocked list, same basic concept. You're going to name it. You're going to put in a color. You're going to add a description if you want. You're going to press next, and now you're going to say, what website do you want to block? So for example, let's say you're like Facebook. You can type Facebook and you can get any options that you particularly want to block. Now, just for sake of argument, Facebook is open We do have Twitter open, so those two might need to be blocked. TikTok you could add, but it's already blocked by policy. So that's one that we don't have access to anyway. So if you want to turn these on, you can, and you can build your basket the way you want, tab limit as you want. Now, this one has one option, the other one doesn't, and that is auto open tabs. So this, you can say, we're going to auto open google.com. And then let's say we're also going to open up CNN.com. Now, when I put this scene on, not only will they not be able to go to these things, but it's auto going to open these things. And that's what I was saying before about how you can drive instruction in your class using this to help you kind of mitigate any negative behavior the one-to-one might bring, and maximize the positive by putting them in right where they need to be. So when you press save, now you have a built blocked websites list and an allow list. So how does that work in practice? Let's say we're in the classroom. I'm going to go to training day class, and I'm going to start the session. Now, remember that when you start the session, you can either apply the scene right off the rip, or you can do it later. So like right now, we're just going to start the scene. I've got one student in the class, and basically the class has now started. I have not applied a scene at first. I've actually let it be. So over here on the right hand side, you'll see no scene applied. At this moment, you could go pick out a scene. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that the student is on ESPN.com. As you can see here, I've got Bryn, who is our student who we're going to use as an example. I put her on ESPN.com. And let's say that in the moment, that's something I don't want, or we're about to go into a lesson. And I basically want to enable an allow list. So only the things that I'm allowing. I could decide, okay, only what I need you to do is instituted. What you're going to see is on Bryn's screen, it's going to say, hey there, looks like you've reached a website your teacher doesn't want you to because they're on ESPN. Now, in the moment, I could unblock it for the class. I could view the screen. I could close her screen if I wanted and just get her out of ESPN. But that scene is now still running. Now, the important parts to remember when you are running a scene, if Bryn were to go to another class and you still had your session active and your scene is still on, and the other teacher is now working with Bryn and is like, I can't get her into anything because there's a scene blocking it, there is a way to basically knock a student out of someone else's scene, and that is to turn your own scene on. So as an example, let's say for the sake of argument that I saw that Bryn was on someone else's scene. Something was blocking her. It wasn't me. I didn't have a scene on. Let's just say I had no scene on at all. And I see that Bryn is knocked out of certain sites. If I want to basically bring her to my class, I can just quickly turn on any scene I want. It will bring her to me. And then I can just disable the scene. And now my classroom is set. So if your student is stuck in a scene from someone else, you don't have to worry about that. So again, you can do scenes from the left-hand side. You can build your lists as you so choose. Once you are in a class, you can start a session with a default scene. You don't have to. You can pick any scene you want. You can create a scene in the moment here, or when you're live in a class, you can apply a scene here or create one on the fly if that's something you want to do. And like I said, scenes aren't just about saying what they can't do. It's about what they can do, or in certain situations, If you've decided that you want to, you can also set it up to auto open tabs to get them where you want to be. So that is scenes in a nutshell. In our next video, we're going to talk about calendars and how that works.